Greetings, minions. It is I, the Flaming Monocle, here once again with my very good friend T-Dude.
Marmalade.
And we are playing the 39 Steps once more. And if you have tuned in for the entire story thus far, you'll have seen us go from London to Scotland and back again.
My God, it's exciting.
And the moment that Richard Hannay's name is cleared, he's told to spend 4 hours and not get in trouble.
Guess what he does?
3.5 hours later, he turns up and, well...
Due to boredom?
Yes, with the police on his tail. And, well, a very strange man who was the first Sea Lord appears to have noticed Richard Hannay, and a spark of recognition would suggest that perhaps the Sea Lord is not all he's cracked up to be.
And the reason we know that is because Richard Hannay went, and he quickly phoned the Sea Lord's office, and...
now he's like, he's in bed.
Oh, he's in bed. Like, yeah, right. I just saw him talking to this person.
So, with that in mind...
The butler did it.
We've just stormed into this incredibly exclusive private party. And this episode is called The 39 Steps. Sunday, 14th of June, 1914. Queen Anne's Gate, London.
And I feel reassured.
Sir Walter!
Gentlemen!
5 surprised faces looked up from around the table. There was Sir Walter and Drew, the War Minister, whom I knew from his photographs. There was a slim, elderly man, who was probably Whittaker, the Admiralty official. And there was Gerald Winstanley, conspicuous from the long scare, I think that's supposed to say scar, on his forehead. Lastly, there was a short, stout man with an iron-grey moustache and bushy eyebrows, and his name was Gimli. This must have been Royer.
This is Mr. Hannay, of whom I have spoken to you. I'm afraid, Hannay, this visit is ill-timed.
That remains to be seen, sir. But I think it may be in the nick of time. For God's sake, gentlemen, tell me who went out a minute ago.
Sir Walter's face reddened with anger.
Lord Alloa.
It was not... It was his living image, but it was not Lord Alloa. It was someone who recognized me, someone I have seen in the last month. He had scarcely left the doorstep when I rang up Lord Alloa's house and was told he had come in half an hour before and had gone to bed. Who? The Black Stone.
Nonsense.
Well, Mr. Hannay,
Would you like some muffins?
we were just having a round of poker. I sat down in the chair so recently vacated and looked around at 5 badly scared gentlemen.
I said, boo.
Sir Walter got up and left the room while we looked blankly at the table. He came back in 10 minutes with a long face.
Like that policeman.
Indeed. Squished slightly. Gentlemen. Blah, 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 blah.
I have spoken to Alloa. Had him out of bed, very grumpy. He went straight home after Malross's dinner.
But it's madness. Do you mean to tell me that that man came here and sat beside me for the best part of half an hour and that I didn't detect the imposture? Alloa must be out of his mind.
I was getting back my coolness.
Yeah, I was right, yo fools.
I got my swag back.
Don't you see the cleverness of it? You were too interested in other things to have any eyes. You took Lord Alloa for granted. If it had been anybody else, you might have looked more closely, but it was natural for him to be here, and that put you all to sleep.
Royer bent his wise brows on the assembly.
Young man is right. His psychology is good. Our enemies have not been foolish. I will tell you a tale. It happened many years ago in Senegal.
Oh, God, Royer, not another one of your tales.
There was a man, a baseball, and a banana. In the cameraman.
Royer's close shave.
Should have gone to Specsavers.
Many years ago, the General Royer was quartered at a remote station in Senegal.
Senegal is here.
To pass the time, he fished for a big barbel in the river. I'm fishing for a barbel. Oop, there's one. I'll be back soon, girl.
He said to the tree,
The horse was indignant.
did not give a flying.
The lion next to the horse. One morning, his horse was unaccountably restless.
I can account for it as a tiger. Lion.
Hello, I'm a lion. Roy kept soothing her with his voice, his mind intent on fishing.
You're not bothered by the lion.
I'm doing some... He's naked from the waist down. I'll be back soon, girl. He's naked from the waist down.
Oh, what a gentleman. I was kind of hoping the fish would cover his...
My word, it's a Japanese koi. A couple of hours passed. There we go.
me
That's
all
enough
that
for tea.
time
I'll put my trousers back on now.
Ah, I'm wearing ladies' shoes. Change the scenery.
Sounds, my horse.
Oh my goodness. Was I fishing for that long?
Raw. I'm a lion. Roya stood face to face with an old man-eater, the terror of the village.
I just can't wait to be king.
The fight went on and on.
Oh come on, let's play. Let's have it Soul Calibur. Lion versus old man with moustache.
I was enough of a hunter to know a true yarn when I heard it.
I stuffed my fishing rod into his jaws, and I had a pistol. Also, my servants came presently with rifles.
And they had nothing to do with it.
And he left his mark on me.
He held up a hand which lacked 3 fingers.
That's not a mark. That's a lack of things.
Consider. The mare had been dead more than an hour, and the brute had been patiently watching me ever since. I never saw the kill, for I was accustomed to the mare's fretting, and I never marked her absence, for my consciousness of her was only of something tawny, and the lion filled that part. If I could blunder thus, gentlemen, in a land where men's senses are keen, why should we busy, preoccupied urban folk not err also?
Sir Walter nodded. No one was ready to gainsay him.
In other words,
Well, I suppose there is nothing for it but to
We're
change
screwed.
the plans.
Whitaker was looking very glum.
Did you tell Lord Alloa what has happened? No? Well, I can't speak with absolute assurance, but I'm nearly certain we can't make any serious change, unless we alter the geography of England.
Then it must be thus.
We need-
England will now be switched around upside down.
we need some sort of atomic.
God, and we have not a rag of a clue.
Besides, there is the Post. By this time, the news will be on its way.
No. You do not understand the habits of the spy. He receives personally his reward, and he delivers personally his intelligence. We in France know something of the breed.
Of intelligence.
Now, there is still a chance, mes amis. These men must cross the sea, and there are ships to be searched and ports to be watched. Believe me, the need is desperate for both France and Britain.
I had a sudden inspiration.
Where is Scudder's book? Quick, man. I remember something in it.
What is it? Can it be?
No, you don't.
It's the 39 steps. Here's one of the steps. Oh, and
Hang on,
another.
gentlemen. Let me just open the book.
Blackstone in Scotland.
It's very difficult.
June the 14th. And then the 39 steps.
39 steps. 39 steps. I counted them. High tide, 10:17 p.m. What relevance is all?
The Admiralty man was looking at me as if he'd thought I'd gone mad.
Don't you see? It's a clue. Scudder knew where these fellows laired. He knew where they were going to leave the country, though he kept the name to himself. Tomorrow was the day, and it was some place where high tide was at 10:17.
But they may have gone tonight.
Not they. They have their own snug, secret way, and they won't be hurried. I know Germans, and they're mad about working to a plan.
Yep.
Where the devil can I get a book of tide tables?
Whitaker brightened up.
Chance. Let's go over to the Admiralty.
Super friends, away!
Can we go via Starbucks?
Go in my car, it's the fastest. It goes up to nearly 45 miles an hour. We got into 2 of the waiting motor cars. Sir Walter went off to Scotland Yard to mobilise MacGillivray. Oh, it's hotting up. We drove literally in a straight line.
We crashed through St James's Park and crashed
straight into the Admiralty.
It was okay.
It was still open.
There's no NPCs around.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Jump in the window.
Do-do-do. A resident clerk was unearthed who presently fetched from the library the Admiralty tide tables. Tide tables. This will turn the tides against them or something. I sat at the desk and others stood round, for somehow or other I'd got charge of this expedition. But it was no good.
I couldn't read books.
So far as I could see, 1017 might cover 50 places. We had to find some way of narrowing the possibilities. There must be some way of reading this riddle. If only Scudder were here.
But he's not.
The steps. What did Scudder mean by steps? If it were dock steps, why mention the number? It must be some place with several staircases and one marked out from the others by having 39 steps. Why was high tide so important? It must be some little harbour, or no harbour at all. There were no sets of staircases on any harbour that I'd ever seen. The place must be a bit of open coast. He's a man in a hurry. He wants a speedy and secret passage. They wouldn't travel by a big boat from a regular harbour. There is no regular steamer sailing at that hour. I must put myself in the enemy's shoes. I wouldn't leave from the Channel or the west coast. Scotland's too far. I should try for Ostend or Antwerp or Rotterdam. I should sail from somewhere on the east coast between Cromer and Dover.
I don't want to go back to Scotland again.
No, seriously, I mean, it's just dreadful there. This is all guesswork. I'm no kind of Sherlock Holmes, but I do have a feeling about all of this. No time. Time is running out, 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 time is running out.
I fancy a latte. We'll get one on the way.
I spent the last half hour saying time is running out.
Yes, I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but I panic quite a lot.
I set out all my conclusions on a bit of Admiralty paper. Time is running out.
Signed, Mr. Hannay.
Yeah,
I am fairly certain, number 1, time is running out.
Wait a minute.
No.
It just...
There
Okay.
you go.
Fairly certain. Place where there are several sets of stairs. One that matters distinguished by having 39 steps. Full tide at 10:17 p.m. Leaving shore only possible at full tide. Steps, not dock steps, and so place probably not harbour. No regular night steamer at 10:17 means transport must be tramp, unlikely, yacht or fishing boat.
Tramp steamer.
I'm trying to figure this out.
Oh,
Click.
God.
Guessed. Place not harbour but open coast. Boat small, trawler, yacht or launch. Place somewhere on east coast between Cromer and Dover. And time is running out.
This book's climax is in the library.
Sir Walter had joined us, and presently MacGillivray arrived.
Hello.
He had sent out instructions to watch the ports and railway stations for the 3 men whom I'd described to Sir Walter. Not that he or anyone else thought that would do much good.
We bought some Chinese food and Dunkin' Donuts.
Here's the most I can make of it. We've got to find a place where there are several staircases down to the beach, one of which has 39 steps. I think it's a piece of open coast with biggish cliffs somewhere between the Wash and the Channel. Also, it's a place where full tide is at 10:17 tomorrow night.
Then an idea struck me, rather hard in the back of the head.
Is there no inspector of Coast Guards or some fellow like that knows the East Coast?
Why, yes, there is. He lives in Clapham.
Ah.
Let me get him now.
He runs out and came back with a little soiled man.
He's like, if only I knew more about these coasts. Isn't there a person who knows about these places? Why, yes, there is. Why didn't we think of that?
Is there a guard of the coast?
He went off in a car to fetch him. I lit a pipe and went over the whole thing again till my brain grew weary. Then he came back. About 1 a.m, the Coast Guard man arrived.
Let go of me.
He was a fine old fellow with the look of a naval officer and was desperately respectful to the company.
Don't hurt my image.
Hello. Fat controller.
This is the chap.
Good evening, gentlemen.
We want you to tell us the places you know on the East Coast where there are cliffs and where several sets of steps run down to the beach.
What kind of steps do you mean, sir? There are plenty of places with roads cut down through the cliffs, and most roads have a step or two in them. Or do you mean regular staircases, all steps, so to speak?
Shut up.
Whittaker looked towards me.
We mean regular staircases.
He reflected a minute or two.
I don't know that I can think of any. Wait a second.
There's one.
There's a place in Norfolk, Brattlesham, beside a golf course, where there are a couple of staircases to let the gentleman get a lost ball.
That's not it.
Then there are plenty of marine parades, if that's what you mean. Every seaside resort has them.
I shook my head.
It's got to be more retired than that.
Well, gentlemen, I can't think of anywhere else. Of course, there's the Rough.
What's that?
The big chalk headland in Kent, close to Bradgate. It's got a lot of villas on the top, and some of the houses have staircases down to a private beach. It's a very high-toned sort of place, and the residents there like to keep by themselves.
Ooh. 10:17. I can't see it, but
We're on the scent at last. How can I find out what is the tide at the Rough?
I can tell you that, sir. I once was let a house there in this very month, and I used to go out at night to the deep sea fishing. The tide's 10 minutes before Bradgate.
I closed the book and looked round at the company.
If one of those staircases has 39 steps, we have solved the mystery, gentlemen. I want the loan of your car, Sir Walter, and a map of the roads.
Of course.
If Mr. McGillivray will spare me 10 minutes,
Yes.
I think we can prepare something for tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm content to leave the matter in Mr. Hannay's hands.
We cannot be bothered.
Seriously, I cannot actually be bothered to do this. I think Mr. Hannay has had enough adventures in the last week. It was ridiculous of me to take charge of the business like this, but they didn't seem to mind, and after all, I had been in the show from the start, and I was bored.
And I was right.
Besides, I was used to rough jobs, and these eminent gentlemen were too clever not to see it.
Let Hannay do the work, or we don't have to.
Yeah, splendid idea,
Just play Scrabble here.
By 3:30 that morning, I was tearing past the moonlit hedgerows of Kent, with McGillivray's best man Scaif on the seat beside me.
Hello, sir. I am Scaif. My mother wanted to call me Scarf.
And she couldn't spell it right. She couldn't.
She stubbed her toe.
And that's the end of that chapter. There's only 2 left. My word, it's hotting up. Hotting up.
If you say so, sir.
It's like I can't think of anywhere that's got like these steps you're talking about, unless you mean this one place, which is precisely what you're looking for.
You could have just said, where is there 39 steps cut into the... Oh, I know that.
Oh, I know. There's a staircase with
count them all.
precisely 39 steps.
That's all I do, apart from play with my
Except I don't know it'll be much good to you, because the tide's only at 10:17.
Yes, pluck chickens.
Anyway, join us the next time we play the 39 Steps to see the penultimate episode of this series. Will Richard Hannay, finish his mission? Or will it be a dreadful book where nothing gets resolved? I suppose you'll have to wait and find out. Anything to say on that matter? Okay, good. See you then, dudes! Bye.